Hello, I'm Sterling Bone, and we're excited as a team to be able to present our work, Rejected, Shackled, and Alone. And we are honored to be recognized as a distinguished winner of the 2020 AMA EBSCO Responsible Research and Marketing Award. And I'm joined together with my co-authors, Glenn Christensen and Jerome Williams. And we're excited to tell you the brief story of this research.
So the foundations where we came to this is we were looking at consumer choice and realizing that the vast majority of choice research focus one on sort of discrete choice, just a moment in time kind of choice decisions, and also this underlying assumption that individuals are assumed to be like free agents, able to act upon their tastes and preferences when making choices in the marketplace. That really the only restriction that's upon us is sort of internal restrictions of maybe I don't want to, or maybe I don't have the means to. But however, this sort of unfettered choice, kind of an economic model of a utility maximizer in a world full of options, is a tenuous assumption given the heterogeneity in both the ability to choose and structurally imposed access to choice that individuals encounter. And there's a small but useful stream of research that has sort of established this. So at least in the United States, particularly in the United States, Marcus and Schwartz in 2010 pointed out that choice is self-defining. The ability to choose, especially in a narrative of the American dream and of freedom, it defines and expresses and reifies the self. And so threats to the ability to choose are threats to a person's self-esteem, self-identity, and a sense of self-efficacy in the marketplace. So our final point is that goal-driven choice is actually should actually be more reconceptualized like a choice journey, where the goal to make a consumer choice identifies and motivates a series of enabling and subordinate goals and superordinate goals. So where we went to look at this was we started to look at self-employed customers, consumers acting as entrepreneurs seeking loans for their small business. There's an assumption that business lending and entrepreneurship lending that the consumers are more sophisticated, but the vast majority of consumers they act more like consumers and commercial lenders than rather than sophisticated financial institutions making financial access to capital decisions in their pursuit of their entrepreneurship. So also, restricted access to capital for minority and small business entrepreneurs was a pressing issue at the time of this, and it's continued and even become a more salient and centerpiece of the narrative in 2020. So the centrality of choice and freedom for the entrepreneurial consumer heightens the experience of any restrictions on that choice in the marketplace.
And so to understand this phenomena of the restricted choice that individuals might face as they're pursuing important resources from the marketplace, in this case, small business lending, we employed a multi-method approach. And at the time, I think we could tell you as authors that we didn't realize how important this really was ultimately going to be. But we grounded this work with some great qualitative work, did some field experimentation using a match-paired mystery shopping study, and then complemented the two studies with a online experiment in the financial service arena. But these three approaches provide us a lot of understanding around the lived experiences of minorities as they go to the marketplace. It informed us as an author team of the different directions that we needed to further go, even coming out of this piece. And so we're very grateful for the reviewers and other folks that kind of guided our journey to take a multi-method approach. The results of our work, and again, we're going to talk about some of the practical implications, but theoretically, we hope that this work has really informed the area on restricted choice. And we found that this idea of systemic restricted choice really has this effect on identity and the definition of self, as Glenn's talked about. And that not only is this impacting individuals' choice journeys, it's impacting how they view the marketplace and the institutions that provide services and products in that marketplace. We found one of the most compelling findings that we found that our minorities, as they were looking at financial institutions as a target to be able to gain the capital that they needed to grow their business, they saw themselves subservient to those institutions as minorities. And it was very different for our non-minorities that viewed themselves on a more level playing field, or even in kind of a creator looking down on the institution's perspective. Again, as Glenn's iterated, we feel like that this work has helped maybe redefine, re-understand a little bit around the choice literature, looking at not just these discrete choices, but that these choices really add toward a choice journey, and someone that finds frustration or difficulty or restriction at early states of choice is going to impact the outcomes of their choice journey. And this really also informs work on social justice, something that we're very grateful that Jerome has provided a lot of expertise and direction, is that racial microaggressions have a cumulative debilitating effect, and that we need to look at these microaggressions and recognize that they have an additive effect over the experience and life of consumers.
One of the things that was really important about this award was that it would have social impact, socially responsible research. And our work in this particular paper has had an impact not only on the scholarly community, but in the community at large. This paper became the foundation for follow-up papers, another paper that appeared in Journal of Public Policy and Marketing, and another work that we've done. So that impact on the scholarly community extended from this work. But personally, more importantly, it extended to the greater community. This is really the kind of work, particularly in that time in which we're living, when there's so much attention being focused on race relations and the Black Lives Matter movement, what happened with George Floyd. Not only in the outside world are people paying attention to race and discrimination, but certainly in the scholarly community, you're seeing more evidence of scholars trying to pursue this. And with our work, it really got a lot of attention in the media. As you can see, the paper at the Washington Post that cited our work, and we can list many, many other outlets that drew attention to this work. But it also opened the door for us to collaborate with NCRC, the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. And by working with them, we were able to then get entrees into working with government officials. We've had work with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, and then that work and the collaboration within our NCRC opened the door for a grant that we applied for. It's a 3-year grant, $1.2 million. And by using that money, it helped us to extend the research that we had done in this initial paper and some of the testing to extend it to other areas, to look at other variables, different combinations of variables, which we didn't have a chance to fully explore in this original paper. So in this slide, you can see some of the impact. You can see our research team there meeting in DC with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau director. Can you see presentations and panels at the CFPB meeting? And we've had opportunity, as you see the impact there, to be cited in the rulemaking on Section 1071 of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform Act. We've had invited to train fair lending experts at the Department of Justice and the CFPB. And certainly one of the most significant ones is that we were cited and included in testimony in U.S. congressional hearing on financial services. And this is really, when you think about where we are in the field of marketing, many of you may be aware of the fact that the AACSB has included another criteria in the evaluation of business schools, and that is to have socially responsible research. And this kind of work fits right in there. I was very happy to see that some schools too are moving toward promotion criteria that includes what we label publicly engaged scholarship. So what makes me proud of this work is that I think it's opened the door for many other scholars to follow suit and recognize that work can have a scholarly contribution, but at the same time, it can have a greater impact in terms of social communities and social responsibility. And particularly now, this work, which focuses on race and discrimination, has laid a foundation for many, many other papers and works that we hope to pursue. So we really enjoyed presenting you the highlights of our work, and we certainly look forward to any questions you may have about this and any way we can answer additional questions about this or where we go from here. Thank you.